Hello and welcome to the 9th demo of StepForward, the application development platform. In this video we will explore the emailing capability of StepForward and how it can be exploited in the notification system implemented in the Preferred Shares application. Since the application is used to help the investor build a portfolio of preferred shares, and this involves making decisions based on the price and yield of shares, it is desirable to pass the task of monitoring the market conditions to the computer and have it send notifications every time the yield moves into the zone of investors' interest. To keep track of yield thresholds when the user should be notified, we will set up a watch list table. In the previous tutorials, we've created enough data templates so that you are already familiar with the process of building them. Now suffice it to show a completed template. Here we have the name of the user, customer, who is interested in being notified about yield moves, his email address, the list of ticker symbols of the stocks to watch, along with their coupon rates. Both fields are linked to the stock template, and the threshold value of yield that triggers the notification. There is also a flag, a checkbox, to track the status of notification. This flag will be set on every time the yield exceeds the threshold value to prevent repetitive notifications. This is a very simple and small table that has an index that prevents entering multiple customers. We have some notifications already set in the table. Now we can look at the process flowchart that does the job of generating notifications based on the customer choices and market conditions. In order to send out notifications, we must have some email setup data, such as the address of the service provider, email account and password of the sender, etc. These data are passed to the process by the user as parameters. We begin the process by pulling out the stock par value from the setup table. As we've seen before, this table has only one record, so we can do a single row retrieval. Next, we begin a loop over all stocks that are on our watch list. We want to limit the number of stocks to be inspected, as pulling market data from the web is a time-consuming procedure, subject to the internet latency, so we pull it straight from the watch list table and sort by the ticker symbol. Function stock valuator. The current market data, prices and volume for the stock, are retrieved from the web and the yield is calculated. Customer notification data is retrieved from the watch list table for the stock. The key points here are the yield threshold value requested by the customer for notification and the notification flag to know that crossing of the threshold has already been reported. Here, we check if the yield exceeds the threshold. If it does, and this has not yet been reported, the notified flag is set to no. Proceed to send the email. If not, go to the next condition component. Float to text function. To email the notification, we have to format the message text. It is a very brief message, could be made much more verbose, but this is not a literary contest. It simply tells the customer that the yield of the stock of his interest moved into the desired range. The function is needed to convert the numeric data format into the string equivalent so that it could be concatenated with the rest of the message. Send email function. This is the centerpiece of the process. This function can be used to send various types of email, including plain text, HTML formatted text, or a report as attached PDF file. In this process, we use the simplest form of this function. Some of the parameters come from the database, Some from the process logic parameters, others are made by the flowchart. The function returns a completion code and an error message for diagnostics when something goes wrong, but in this case, to keep things simple, we do not inspect the possible errors. Calculate state yes. The state variable is set to yes here so that the notification in the watch list can be marked accordingly when the watch list is updated. The other condition, if the yield and notification status flag do not call for sending the message, that is the no exit of the previous condition component, then we need to check if the yield is crossing the threshold downward. If it does, and the notification was sent before, we need to reset the status to prime up for the next upward movement of the yield. If this condition turns out to be true, the state variable is set to no, so that the notification in the watch list can be marked accordingly when the watch list is updated. If not, we simply proceed to the next customer who requested the notification for the same stock. Update. We arrive at this point from two parts of the flowchart, when the yield crossed the threshold either up or down. In any case, we have to update the watchlist table. We update it for the currently processing customer, email address, and stock. This is all there is to be said about this process. To see how these pieces fit together, we can run it in the test mode. Let us now see the process live. Note how the notified flags change after the process runs its course. StepForward monitors the state of its data and updates displays when necessary. And now is the time to see what notifications have been sent. We can schedule this process to run regularly, say once every hour, to monitor the market and report on any changes of interest. While on the subject of monitoring stocks, we could also ask ourselves how our portfolio is doing as far as its market value is concerned. Granted, the portfolio is made of preferred shares whose main feature is the fixed dividend income that it delivers to the holder. Still, it is worth knowing the portfolio current value if we realize that sooner or later it may have to be sold, in part or in full. To estimate the capital gain or loss, we need to track a few things about our portfolio. To this end, there is a valuation table. Here we have three fields linked to the stock table and three other fields that are local to valuation table. That is, they are not linked but are stored by value in the table. Number of shares, book cost, the unit price at which the shares were bought, and commission total, the amount of commission that was paid to the broker. It is worth noting here that some of the stock could be bought as new issues, in which case the broker commission for the buyer is zero. And here is our portfolio. The print templates are very simple. We will show them briefly without spending much time. Now we can finally take a look at the valuation report. This report does not take any parameters. It simply walks over all stocks in the portfolio. Here we prime up the variables that will tally up the totals. Portfolio data is retrieved from the valuation table, ordered by the stock ticker symbol. The current market data, prices and volume for the stock, are retrieved from the web. Here is a series of calculations that produce the valuation data to be reported. Here is the first stock valuation. We can run this report manually or schedule it for the end of the trading day. This wraps up the 9th demo of StepForward. You can learn more about the functionality and capabilities of StepForward or download StepForward from this page and read on preferred shares design on our website. Thank you.